A front-page New York Times article by Kevin Roose claims a man called Caleb Cain was radicalized against Muslims and immigrants by watching YouTube videos. Among the videos Kevin cited as radicalizing Caleb against immigrants and Muslims were 3 featuring me. If you didn't know, I am a Muslim immigrant. So the writer of this article, Kevin Roose, is implying I somehow caused Caleb to hate myself. The videos featuring me were interviews that I did about the US backing of terrorism in Syria, the refugee crisis that the war against Syria created, and the influence of Israel over US politics. How such videos could have contributed towards Caleb hating Muslim immigrants makes no sense unless the author, Kevin Roose, is implying that the very sight of a Muslim immigrant like myself could cause hatred. I reached out to Caleb Cain and asked if my interviews and videos contributed in any way to his developing hatred of Muslims and immigrants, and he assured me that they did not. I asked permission from Caleb to share his response, and not only did he agree, but he also retweeted me. So basically, Kevin Roose has falsely defamed and slandered me. He didn't ask me to comment or give me a right of response before he wrote his defamatory article. He never asked to interview me about the content of my videos or the war in Syria. In fact, he's never even tweeted about Syria, or any war for that matter. Yet, out of Caleb's 1,200 video viewing history, Kevin Roose cherry-picked 3 of my videos. If he doesn't know who I am and doesn't care about Syria, who put him up to including 3 of my videos in his article? Well, the first clue comes in the second half of the article. Kevin Roose interviewed Bellingcat about YouTube radicalization. Bellingcat is run by Eliot Higgins, a man who has a personal vendetta against me. Eliot Higgins is a member of the DFR lab, which last year falsely labeled me a Russian bot and asked Facebook to censor me, which they did for 6 months. The DFR lab is run by the Atlantic Council. The Atlantic Council is a NATO think tank. NATO is at war with my country, Syria. Get the picture? They don't like my anti-war message. They've been trying to silence me and defame me for years. In fact, one of Bellingcat's other members, Dan Kizera, wrote a letter to my university, falsely accusing me of experimenting with sarin simply because I exposed him as a fraud that has no knowledge of chemistry. Dan Kizera was paid by the Integrity Initiative, a British intelligence outfit created to silence online dissidents. That's a story I'll save for another video. The article is about silencing the alternative media. It's not a coincidence it comes days after YouTube announced an algorithm change that will promote authoritative accounts and demote or censor alternative news. It's not just because the New York Times sees alternative media as a rival to their profits, but it's also because of the anti-war, anti-establishment message the alternative media promotes. They're using accusations of racism as a sword against anti-war activists and anti-Zionist voices. They're trying to silence me for accepting interviews opposing the war against my country. Their war against my country. What a privilege it must be to write for a pro-war newspaper while sipping Starbucks and pretending to be against racism. Kevin Roose is blind to his West-centric neoliberal privileged racism, a racism that bombs foreigners, loots their resources, and balkanizes their country, then accuses them of spreading hate if they dare to complain. The machine wants us to go quietly into the night, but I refuse. Follow me on all of this and I'll bring you more videos.